Brandon from HistoryShift. We are live in the Montana mountains in the Beaver Head National Forest, and I'm bringing you live dolom, hiked up to it. Giant rock on the top. We've got a stacked boulder system over here of two that look like they're stacked on a third, and a big one on the right, on the left. We're gonna mark this, take some measurements, and we'll get back to you. Awesome. So we're inside, and I want to give you kind of an inside view of what we're looking at for the stacks. So there's one, two, little space, another big one, going the other direction, lengthwise, and then our lintel on top, going across. And there are two major standing stones, and it is balancing on the first one up there. Inside view of a dolmen. Artificial or not, you have to admit this is pretty damn cool. Look at the size of these rocks. And that one that's dipping down there, I can't even you can see it sticking out over there. That's how big that rock is. And the one above my head, I don't want to think about it. HistoryShift again. We just found an amazing new dolmen. It's got two huge stones on top, which may have just been one that looks like it's split a little, but on a nice rock outcropping, two big standing stones. And just give you an idea of the area. And over there, just behind me, is Fred's house, the first dolmen I found. So we're going to go explore this one. Cool. Interesting little thing, but you can see how that big rock there just fell over. And when it did, it just smashed into that rock. And then it just pushed all those big giant boulders there over. So, example of a natural dolmen. Okay, so here's another one I can't explain through natural features, is this rock up top there. I don't see anything it could have broken off of and slid over in that shape. So that's interesting. We'll call that the recliner. Interesting, very cool. Little site just off the road. Back in Beaver Head, we've got a fairly substantial lintel on top of there. I believe that just slid off that rock and over. But these, I'm a little less convinced by. Smaller stones. Almost seem to be stacked, to be wedged in there. Cool. All right, I've kind of been looking for this shaped one for a while. I've seen it on other places. It's supposed to resemble a bird with the beak down. I'll put some pictures to compare so you can see for yourself. I'll lean to with some pictures, but I want to see these rocks here in the back with the lights shining on them. Those are stacked. I don't think those are natural. And it's got a little chimney in the back even, or a little, I guess, exit or something. But something's been in here. Somebody. Interesting little guy here. I shouldn't say little. It's quite big, but I can't see where that would have broken off and fallen. Hard to tell on this one. Could even be a little shelter under there. Interesting rock outcropping up Little Boulder Road. We have a little outcrop there. A lot of stacked stones that are interesting, and then a little interesting dolmen. It's got a, you can see that the base there, a little triangle kind of wedged in there, and two square stones below it. But you can see how that rock just cracked and split apart. And then the one up there did the exact same thing and just slid forward. What's interesting though is if you see behind there, see the white rock? The white or the pink granite instead of the granite. That's interesting. Right in the middle of everything else, just kind of popped up. Cool. interesting rock outcropping up Little Boulder Road. We are going up here to what is known as a compass standing rock in the Boulder Batholith. You can see it right there in the middle. There's one behind it and a fallen one in front of it, which is very interesting. And the top even seems to have a rock placed up there. Pointing at something. So, let's come back here and look at this. Now I'd say that rock there used to spit probably right there. Fell down, but it's interesting. There's almost like a step stool here. So you can see all right, let's take some measurements. HistoryShift. We are going up here to what is known as a compass standing rock in the Boulder Batholith. You can see it right there in the middle. There's one behind it and a fallen one in front of it, which is very interesting. And the top even seems to have a rock placed up there. Pointing at something. So, let's come back here and look at this. Now I'd say that rock there used to spit. Stone compass because I think it deserves some more attention. Let's give you kind of a quick outlook of the site here. There are a row of 4 stones that are fairly aligned with one out of alignment if they are straight. We're on top of a fairly barren hill. You see there's no big rocks, nothing, and then just starts there, goes there. So the question is this natural or man-made or unnatural? Let's just say that. What's interesting is the way this splits and lines up. It almost looks like that peak up there is placed up there. And if you go between the two, you find something really kind of interesting over here, which we've seen in other places. A balancing rock kind of half sticking over an area. And I found a couple of these, so it's not uncommon and it's a pattern. And if we turn around, oh, we find the stepping stool and somebody's leftover dinner, looks like. And if you step up on here, which is, it's got to be for a nice little raspberry plant there. This is kind of what it's pointing at. So we got to go that way and figure out what's over there. Gonna take some measurements and write them down, a little more accurate this time. See you on the other side. We're still at the standing stones, and I came around the corner and saw something just kind of interesting. Makes you wonder if they didn't use that to pull them up or in the first place. Kind of interesting. This may be hard to see in the video, but I want you to pay attention to the type of rock that's stacked up versus the one that's inside there. There's a different kind of sheen or weathering to it. It's hard to say whether these have been weathered more or that has. You tell me. Okay, so I just came across this very strange fracturing pattern that I've not seen before on any of the rock structures. Let me back up here a little bit. So it's this big rock outcropping. It's got a little pathway, a little mini one there, but it's this fracturing that's got me. I've not ever run across this before. And it's interesting because it's clean. See, here's got that granite, the granite covering that we see, you know. But this is just so different. Any thoughts? We found some graffiti. We're not the first. Looks like it goes back all the way to 05 Ruffy. 5/25/05. Cool. So, just came across this, looking at some rocks and some boulders and a nice little outcrop. But here's this. Somebody has been digging. That is not a hole made by an animal. There are no animal prints, and we have two piles of rubble here and here. This was done last year, I would assume. But somebody is digging through their crystals or artifacts, or either way, not okay. Or above Tizer Garden, excuse me. And I got this little mini double dome kind of thing going on here. Stacked rock, one on top. You tell me. Then even another stacked one. So we've got 1, 2, 3. I think that might be my double right there that we saw before, but still, amazing sight. Here's a look at that double from the other side. Can't see much from here, it doesn't look, but you can get through it. So as I came around this, we end up with one dolmen, another dolmen in that same formation. We're gonna try to get some better shots. See, it comes all the way down, and then it starts, and they stack, and they stack. Interesting. So we're back to that stacked formation again, and there is a clear line between these rocks. There's even like spacers put in, you would guess. But could that be part of an old megalithic wall of some sort or something? I mean, that couple of those blocks are pretty square to where you'd almost say they were formed. I don't know, this is a very interesting site. See, there's more up there, but this is what we're interested in. That is a totally new one, and an amazing one too, because look how we've got the stacked rocks on the left and on the right and below it and all the way down. But look how that lintel up there has a rock on it just to the left, balancing it, and then a smaller one in the middle. I wonder how, and it looks rounded more than the other ones. That's cool. amazing structure. A perfect cut or break. That looks molded. That little one right there. Now that's interesting. I don't see how that would have broken off or fallen off anything. That looks built. Big time. I'm gonna go check it out. Interesting, another rock wall formation. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to say that that wasn't intentional until you look down at the strewn field of all the broken boulders that have come off of that in the years. But that's some pretty crazy action. All right, found this very fun guy here today. Got a lintel on top with a balancing stone in the middle. And in the same rock formation, there's another one too. So we're back to that stacked formation again, and there is a clear line between these rocks. There's even like spacers put in, you would guess. But could that be part of an old megalithic wall of some sort or something? I mean, that a couple of those blocks are pretty square to where you'd almost say they were formed. I don't know, this is a very interesting site. See, there's more up there, but this is what we're interested in. Search for the dolmen. Sorry, breathing hard. But as you can see, there's lots of stuff to explore. But I want to show you this one. We just saw it. Beautiful. Stacked, lintel stacked. That's interesting. If you didn't know any better, it looks like a small amphitheater with the main star right there in the center and walled around. I have a cool spot. This is more of a balancing rock, I think, than a dolmen. But lots of dolphins. Hope you can hear me. I found this really cool underground waterfall. It goes from a spring, which is fairly trickling, so it funnels through here. Look at it come out. And then it goes underground all the way over to there. Fascinating. This is above Delmo Lake, Montana. Very big rock outcropping. It's very interesting because it kind of creates that amphitheater that we've seen before, but almost on a much bigger scale. Got your standing rock there. Very interesting. If you didn't know any better, it looks like a small amphitheater with the main star right there in the center and walled around. I have a cool spot. This is History Shift. This is the first structure we've come into that I'm investigating on Delmo Lake. Saw it from the road. Just hiked up a very nice leaning rock, forming a very nice little cave. Now that definitely could be some shelter. Not that it was made, but I bet it was used. All right, that's pretty neat. It's even got like a back door. Huh. Refrigerator Canyon. Look at the magnificent area we're in.
Big sitting up there.
Refrigerator Canyon. Look at the magnificent area we're in. Canyon. Just wanted to show you guys, we found a really cool overhang, but just to get an idea of the scale that we are working on. It's very tall and up there. Like this little 3 spires off to the right there. I'll have to come back and check them out on Google Earth because there's also a little V there. That's kind of interesting as well. The old stick sticking out of it. We keep going down the ridge. If you look, you can see it or not, but there's a big old rock getting ready to fall off up there. And it leads right down to the creek. So we did find some man-made signs right here. Somebody's been stacking boulders under this little cave here. Don't see much. Keep looking. There's this little guy here. Little pack rat nest in there. We'll take a look at this big guy next. Well, it's hard to see, but very interesting. Very cool formation. Thought it was a cave at first, but as you'll see, it's got a whole bunch of little caves up in there. You can just see the rock types, but it opens up. It's actually like a shoot-through needle. Definitely coming back to explore this. So we're up Refrigerator Canyon. We're up on a little outcropping where we found the rope. We're gonna go up to the entrance cave here. You can see that's a little rough going. Yeah. There we go. Say hi, Lily. Across the middle of the trail, 2 piles of boulders. Clearly man done. Interesting. This video is just for context here. Somebody has lit a fire in between these rocks, and you can see the charcoal that came out from it. And you can see the charcoal that came out on this side as well. So we have never I have never ran into anything with charcoal marks on it before as proof of fire. So here's proof of fire as a concept. We found some graffiti. We're not the first. Looks like it goes back all the way to 05 Ruffy. 5/25/05. Cool.